All right, so here we go, looking at an example of how we're going to graph this hyperbola. So the first thing we want to do is we want it to be equal to 1 on the other side. So I'm going to divide everything by 36. So I know 9 over 36 is going to be the same as x squared over 4 minus y squared over 9 equals 1. Nice that we gave you numbers that divided out nicely and are perfect squares. So we know, of course, this is 2 squared and this is 3 squared. So my a value is 2, my b value is 9. And I can see that there's no values with the x and the y. So then I know my center is at 0, 0. So going from the x, I'm going to go over 2 and then to the opposite direction. So those are my vertices. I'm going to go up 3. I'm going to go down 3. Those are my co-vertices. So I could go ahead and sort of sketch in my rectangle to help me draw my asymptotes. So, all right, I'm going to start here and then take it down. So my asymptotes are going to go here and on the opposite side. That one I did not do as well. Let's try that again. Not so well again. Jeez. All right, that's slightly better. And now I know that this one is opening horizontally because it's starting with x squared. So I can sketch in my hyperbola going through my vertex and following along my asymptotes. Hopefully you're doing a bit better if you're drawing this on paper. It's a little bit harder on the tablet, but there we go. All right, so identify my foci. Well, I know that my foci, I know my distance c squared is a squared plus b squared. And it doesn't matter the order that I do those. So of course that's 13. So c is going to be equal to root 13. So to find my foci, I'm going to go from my center and then over root 13. I know that root 13 is a number that is between, let's think about this. So my nearest perfect squares are 9 and 16, and this is about halfway in between. So it's going to be somewhere between 3 and 4. So maybe about here is one of my foci, and then same on the opposite direction, about here, and I could label that as root 13, comma 0, negative root 13, comma 0. So those are my foci. My transverse axis and my conjugate axis. Well, my transverse axis, so let's use this and say, okay, foci are plus or minus root 13, comma 0. The transverse axis, well, that's just my x-axis, so that's y equals 0. My conjugate axis is the y-axis, so that's going to be x equals 0. My vertices are 2 and negative 2, 0, so plus or minus 2, 0. My co-vertices are 0 plus or minus 3. And the equations of my asymptotes, well, I know that I've gone up 3 over 2, so plus or minus 3 halves x, and it goes through 0, 0, so I don't need anything else.